Welcome back, everybody, to another Q&A with Dr. J and GC. Today, Dr. J, why don't you tell the audience what we're going to talk about? And then I have a few questions.
Okay. We got some interesting questions from listeners, and one of them was about midlife anxiety. They've never been anxious before, and then suddenly it just comes on them around what I call mental pause for a lot of women. The question was, why is this happening now when most of my life I've been pretty stable?
And does that include the night sweats and heart racing? Is it all part of a package? Is that when we say anxiety, I think of all of the symptoms of midlife transition?
Yeah, fair enough. I think they're co-inhabitants. They're going to come along with the anxiety.
Okay.
And they probably add to it because when you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're drenched in sweat and you're feeling hot and then you're cold and all those things, that can definitely add to the anxiety. And especially if it's interfering with your sleep, that has a profounding doubling effect on the symptoms.
So I guess everybody listening is going to say, it's the hormones, but is it more than just the hormones? And I think you're going to say there are some genes involved.
How did you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that's common, but common doesn't necessarily mean that it's inevitable or untreatable or non-understandable. Between the ages of 40 and 55, when we start to develop some of these symptoms, and as early as late 30s, I've heard some women going through this. The genes haven't changed. The genes are still there, but the environment inside the body does change. And that's where the hormones come into play. When the ovaries give out, because they're the ones that make estrogen and progesterone, and then those are made into our other hormones, including testosterone for women and for men too. When the hormones stop being produced by the ovaries for women, the adrenals take over. So the adrenals are your stress glands, and they're sitting out right on top of your kidneys. And if they're already overworked, if you're under a lot of stress and you're not sleeping well and you're continually stressing them out, they're like, hey, I'm already overloaded. I'm already doing everybody else's work. And now you want me to make estrogens and progesterone too? I mean, no, I can't do it. So it's that fluctuation. The adrenals will kick in for a moment and then they'll go, can't do it. So it's the fluctuation that really kind of wreaks havoc. And we talked about it with histamine levels when we did the histamine section. When estrogens fluctuate, spike or go down, and it can cause a lot of flushing, and the excess histamine can cause anxiety as well. So it's an interesting little roller coaster ride that happens right around that time. The estrogen normally what creates a buffer for balancing out the anxiety in women, but certain women with certain genetic variants feel it a lot harder and a lot faster.
I know some people that say, I didn't even notice when I went through perimenopause and menopause. I want their genes, a little bit late for me.
Yeah, exactly. I have talked to a lot of women who are like, yeah, I didn't even notice it. Just one day my period stopped and no hot flashes, no anxiety. Like,
So is there anything that women can do, or are they just destined to ride this roller coaster?
yeah, there's a lot we can do, but I want to talk about the specific genes that are
Okay.
involved so that people can
Yep.
go and look at their My Happy Genes results and see if they have these. And that is number one, comforting to see, oh my gosh, wow, it is in my genes and what's happening in my body. One of the main ones is that MAO gene, the warrior gene that we've talked about. If you have the faster moving MAO and it breaks down serotonin too fast, estrogen actually props up that MAO variant, makes it more sluggish. And so when it drops, when the estrogens drop, so does the reserve of serotonin. So there's some depression that happens with that particular genetic variant. Also, the 5-HTT-LPR, same thing. It also is propped up by estrogens that keep the serotonin levels higher. So there again, anxiety, but also I hear it's depression and anxiety that kind of go together, if you will. And then the COMT, we've talked a lot about that one, and its main job is adrenaline clearance. And when you have a slow functioning COMT, that enzyme is sluggish, adrenaline lingers longer in the prefrontal cortex. And it's going to feel like persistent anxiety and hypervigilance and a difficulty coming down after any kind of stressful event, if you will, naturally. So adding on to going through menopause or going through those hormonal changes can hit those people a little worse if they have that COMT variant. The GABA receptor genes or the GAD as well, that converts glutamate into GABA. Its estrogen supports GABA production as well. So losing it removes that support for GABA. And GABA is our main relaxing, calming neurotransmitter. And then the NR3C1, we really haven't talked about this one before, but it's going to cause a more reactive HPA axis, and that's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And it can be well managed for many decades, but now the threshold is lower, so it's going to be more reactive to any kind of stress. And cortisol can spike in those cases, and it'll interfere with sleep. It'll cause the weight gain that we all love so much after menopause. It's so fun. And actually, it can break down your immune system as well and your connective tissue. So we start to get more injuries, more joint aches and pains, etc. But there's a lot that we can do there. And so as we've talked about, genes aren't a sentence, they're predisposition, loading the gun and needing a trigger. And the trigger is your environment, but also nutrients and your diet. And so when you get your genetic data, you can look at these particular genetic variants, look at your anxiety genes and look at your hormone balance genes. But here are some ideas, and I want to caution people because we always talk about, oh, be careful when you do this because it causes this. But some things that they can try. And if they feel like, if they have the fast moving MAO variant to help slow down the serotonin being broken down, actually turmeric, for those people that have the already slow moving MAO, they don't want to do turmeric. So it depends on which gene variant you have. Do you have the one that processes serotonin and gets it out quickly and you feel down? Or are you one that has a slow moving MAO and where you build up serotonin and you feel really irritable? So it depends on, think about how you feel. But in the case of trying to get serotonin up, if you're down, if you feel like you have the slow moving one and you look on your gene table and that turmeric can really slow that enzyme down. It's an MAOI, it's a natural MAOI inhibitor. Do you remember the old MAOIs for depression years ago that the physicians were using?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah, they're old timey. I don't think they use them so much anymore because
So they were
there's,
like the precursor to SSRIs?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they slowed down that MAO. But tryptophan-rich foods too. So that's where turkey and cheese and wine, go have some cheese and wine. The active B vitamins, if there's a low methylation issue, and B6 helps the body produce serotonin as well. So some things you can try and pay attention to how you feel because don't ever do it like a one size fits all. Everybody should take this. It's just not that way. We really need to look at our genes. But you can play with this. And it's if you're feeling down, you want to do turmeric, tryptophan-rich foods, active B vitamins. If you're feeling too anxious and irritable and coming out of your skin, you want to avoid those things. So avoid tryptophan foods and avoid turmeric and avoid active B vitamins because they're going to make that worse. I had a consultation this week with a woman somebody had told her to do a bunch of methylated vitamins. And her biggest complaint was she's anxious. She's coming out of her skin and can't sleep. And I'm like, oh, dear God, look what I saw what she was taking. I was like, oh my gosh. And she had the COMT variant, the one that's slow moving. So here she is taking all these methylated vitamins and it's making a bunch of adrenaline and she can't get it out of her body.
Wow.
It was completely the wrong thing to do for her. So for the COMT, if you're one of those people who it has a slow moving COMT and the anxiety is coming from that, look at your genetic report because we actually report on the ones that are slow and the ones that are fast. Everybody says fast. It's really not correct. It means the normal speed. It's that enzyme. You have the right code for it and it's moving at the normal speed. But you can look at your genetic report now. We've listed both. Do you have the normal one or do you have the slow moving one? And if you have the slow moving one, the COMT, especially V158M, you'd want to use magnesium and then minerals, mineral blend for sure. And that also helps with the osteoporosis that can come along with that midlife drop in our hormones. And it really helps that COMT enzyme speed up and get the adrenaline out of your system so you can balance that. For making GABA, that GAD variant, selenium and B6 are very important for that. But you can also do something like theanine, ashwagandha, really help the body make GABA. I really like theanine because it's really gentle and can help the brain produce more GABA and just calm things down. And then if your cortisol, if your adrenals going up, if your adrenaline's going up, your cortisol is going up. And so sleep is non-negotiable. You really need to get into bed before 10 o'clock because if you wait till after 10, your cortisol spikes, your adrenaline spikes, and your body gears up for, okay, we're going to stay up. We need to get in gear. And it really wrecks the circadian rhythms of the adrenals that are so important during this time. And then getting morning light, blood sugar stability, making sure you get small meals throughout the day, and anti-inflammatory foods like blueberries are a good choice.
So I'm thinking that for people that are really struggling with this, it would be great to get an MHG practitioner on board. Rather
Yeah,
than trying to
absolutely.
remember what you said and pick up, maybe I have the fast or the slow or the.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for some people, this can have a significant effect on their quality of life and their
Mhm.
relationships and their work, etc. But and the practitioner sees the full picture. I'm just giving you a little bit of information about a few genes, but the practitioners are taught how to look at all the pictures. So if we turn on this genetic variant or we get it working better, what happens downstream? So that they understand how to look at that. And that's important. And some supplements are going to worsen anxiety, like the example that I told you. She got information from a reputable practitioner that she trusts. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're and then she was doing turmeric and she has a bunch of MAOs. So she was really doing herself a disservice. With the MAO doing turmeric, that slows it down. And now serotonin is going to go way too high, she's going to be irritable. And she was taking a bunch of B vitamins and vitamin D receptor variant support and cranking out the adrenaline and wondering why she was OCD and anxious and coming out of her skin. And I'm like, nah. So that's where a practitioner can help and they can look at those things and tell, okay, yeah, you need to do this and this, tweak this. It didn't take much. I just said, you got to move things around here, less of this, more of this. And so that's the thing.
I just want to clarify, when you said she went to a practitioner she trusted and took these, it was not an MHG practitioner.
No, correct. Thank you
She
for
was going to
clarifying.
bring her report to this
Yeah.
practitioner and say,
So
here's what I
yeah,
learned.
exactly. So I referred her to one of our trained practitioners
Okay,
so that
gotcha.
yeah, they can get her back on track.
Okay, for all of you who are at that midpoint, starting to experience the roller coaster, hold on. Take good care of yourself. It can get bumpy.
Yeah, and there's a reason for it. It's not your body betraying you. These are real biological changes, and there's a unique genetic makeup that is causing some of those fluctuations, and we can give you some real targeted solutions there. So that's kind of cool.
It is. I always love to hear the good news.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. J, I will see you next week for another Q&A.
Thanks, GC.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.